What is going on, everybody? Justin back from Ayermax here. And if you could see, I'm wearing the one Star Wars shirt I own. So you know what that means. It is time to review Solo, a Star Wars story. This review contains no spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's completely safe to watch. So let's jump right into it. First up, Alden Ehrenreich, the actor who plays Han Solo in the movie. Let's dive in. Ehrenreich made the character his own. He didn't just try to go up there and do a Harrison Ford impression the whole time. Ehrenreich nailed all of the little mannerisms that the original Han Solo had, though. He nailed the smirk, the eyebrow raise, and everything else that made the original character so badass, Ehrenreich did in spades. Now, this Han Solo was very charismatic, of course, but he showed a more vulnerable side of the character, which we had not seen on screen before, and I thought that was very refreshing. Now, my favorite part of Ehrenreich as a whole was the fact that he's from America, and he's not from, like, England or something. Look, when I heard his name and I heard he was being cast as Han Solo, I just assumed he was from Europe, and that another classic American role was going to be outsourced to a guy with a fake American accent. But this guy was great, and I left the theater wanting to see way more of this guy's Han Solo. If you've checked out some of the reviews from this movie, especially the ones that came after the very first screening a couple weeks ago, you might have seen that critics have said, probably in unison, the first half of this movie is slow and it's the worst part. To that I'd say that's garbage. The first act is all about seeing where Solo came from, his upbringing, establishing his relationship with Qi'ra, and introducing major plot points to make sense of where the movie is going to be heading. So don't listen to the critic shorthand of the first half of the movie sucks, because it is just as enjoyable as the second. Now obviously the Millennium Falcon plays a major role in this movie. I think this ship was as much of a character as anyone else. Just seeing how Han won the ship, seeing it do the Kessel Run, there was a great scene of doing the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. It made me like sentimental. And I remember the first time I saw the ship on screen, I like pointed at it and got really giddy with excitement. Also, when Han and Chewie sit in the pilot and co-pilot seats for the very first time, it was an all-time great moment in the movie.
Chewie, get in. I'll help Lando.
Now, obviously, this movie is about way more than just Han Solo. They had a great supporting cast around him. So let's dive in. Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian did not disappoint.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
Glover spoke with the same smooth tones that Billy D. Williams did in the original movies. Lando was actually really funny as well, but not in like the telling jokes or in any kind of forced way. It was more his over-the-top character's lifestyle, and his love of expensive capes and his extensive cape collection was really funny, and I thought the whole thing was fantastic. It wouldn't be Han Solo without Chewbacca, and this is probably the most Chewie we've seen in any Star Wars movie. So often we've just been used to seeing Chewie kind of relegated to the Han sidekick role, not really given a whole lot to do or say. But in this movie, he had a way larger role, and it was really nice to see. Next up, Emilia Clarke played Qi'ra. Now, what a roller coaster of a character. First of all, she is a legit badass who can more than hold her own, and it looks like she would just brutally take down any person she comes into contact with. But her arc as a character is so interesting, and you really have to keep up with it because it takes a lot of twists and turns, so you have to be paying attention the whole time. Now, a couple others. Paul Bettany, he's the guy that plays Vision in the Avengers movies. He played a character named Dryden Voss. I didn't really care for it. The whole character, just his dialogue, it felt forced, and especially when the character was trying to be like sincere. Like, you just know that at any moment he could just grab a knife and stab you. The dialogue was really weird and corny, and it sounded like Bettany had just Googled how to be a movie villain, and he just used that to help him prepare for that movie. Finally, Woody Harrelson played a character named Tobias Beckett. I really enjoyed this character and Harrelson's performance. This character teaches Han some very valuable life lessons, and he has a crazy story arc throughout. Another thing this movie does a really good job of is including a whole bunch of like Star Wars lore. I'll be honest. I'm not the most knowledgeable Star Wars fan, I'll admit it. I know the basics, but the intricate stuff isn't really my forte. I saw this movie with a couple of friends who are really into everything Star Wars, and they had a great time just like picking out the little details that they had seen from the books and the other non-movie Star Wars stuff. So, if you're someone like them, you'll be really glad you saw this movie because it does a great job of appeasing that kind of fan base. And, if you're just someone like me who falls somewhere more towards like the casual fan side, who just really likes the movies, you will also really enjoy this film. Alright, let's wrap this up. Overall, this is a very fun, fast-paced adventure. It felt like no other Star Wars movie I'd seen before, and that was a good thing. I don't think what the critics are saying is accurate when they say that there is Star Wars fatigue, because 5 months ago we just got the other Star Wars movie. There would be Star Wars fatigue if this movie was a complete dumpster fire. But it's not. It's really, really good. Also, Alden Ehrenreich might be one of my new favorite actors and favorite people. I've watched so many interviews of him on this movie press tour, and I found out that he still has a flip phone. His taste in music starts and ends with classic rock, and he just seems like the kind of guy you want to grab a beer with. But the only things I didn't like about this film were the Dryden Voss character, and occasionally they would just kind of brush past some important plot points in the film, or maybe not go into as much detail as I would have liked. But overall, this is a great summer movie. Grab some friends, order a giant thing of popcorn, sit back, and just enjoy a really fun, entertaining flick. Now, my final grade on this film is going to be an A-. That's a review. Leave us a comment if you'd seen this movie or if you disagree with anything you've seen here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.